This is our news, the weekend edition. And on the broadcast tonight, a prominent QC dismisses the emergency power orders, stating they never made sense. Plus, hear what the police chief has to say now that weekend lockdowns have been lifted. And the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season off to a historic start.
Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Andrew Knowles, and thanks so much for joining us. Topping news this evening, attorney Wayne Monroe, QC, says he expects a number of court cases as a result of emergency orders during the COVID-19 pandemic. He said since they began in early March, the competent authority has bungled his handling of the ordeal. Our Kyle Joaquin reports.
I don't want the Bahamian people to walk around talking about these things. This is what COVID-19 caused. If you lost your job, lost your business, COVID-19 didn't cause that. A political decision as to how to respond to it caused that.
Monroe said when one looks back on the COVID-19 crisis, layoffs and business closures shouldn't be blamed on the pandemic itself, but how the Minutes administration handled it.
And I say that for a very simple reason. They told us it's dangerous, it'll kill you. Well, if it was dangerous and would kill you in March, when we had 2 confirmed cases that you locked the country down completely, surely it's still dangerous and will kill you. But not only are you opening up the country, but you're letting wholesale people come in without testing or any quarantine protocols. So now you tell us we have to learn to live with COVID-19.
The country's borders were closed mid-March and a curfew and lockdown put in place to help prevent the further spread of the disease. Since then, the Bahamas has had over 100 confirmed cases with 11 deaths. But with businesses now forced to look at their staff complement, some of which announced layoffs and terminations, Monroe said the economy has to face the consequences that come as a result of everything being closed for almost 3 months. According to Monroe, most of the emergency orders never made any sense to begin with, calling it all political.
So Bahamian people have to think sensibly. What caused the pain was not the virus, but the political response to the virus. And if we always were never going to be able to lock down for the 2-3 years that COVID would be here, the question that has to be answered politically is why did you lock down in March when there were only 2 cases? Why are you opening up in July when there are 35 active cases and allowing people into the country, no testing, no quarantine? Just assume, and I think tourists will come back in big numbers. Why wouldn't they? If you want to go to the beach, do you want to go in Florida where there were millions, hundreds of thousands of cases, or the Bahamas where there were only 100? Of course you can come to the Bahamas.
The country is set to open to yachters and those on private aircraft beginning Monday. The borders will open to commercial flights on July 1st. Monroe questioned the rationale behind many decisions like keeping beaches closed for so long, particularly on family islands, as well as curfews.
I was never accepting that this was a sensible approach. If you have to protect vulnerable people, it would strike me that you lock down everyone to protect a small group of vulnerable people, and maybe that didn't make sense. Now you're opening up and the vulnerable people are still here. I would like a doctor to explain that logic to me, because I can understand logic.
For Our News Weekend, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Police Commissioner Paul Rowe looking at avenues to bolster police presence on the streets of the capital. This as the weekend lockdowns have now been lifted and criminal activity is expected to increase. Just yesterday, police shot and killed 3 men on Cowpin Road after police say an officer was ambushed. Commissioner Rowe gave this warning to those interested in committing crimes.
They've beefed up the presence on the street, and I would advise persons who are interested in committing crimes to change their mind and just stay home, because it is very likely that they are going to be either apprehended or you're going to have a confrontation. We don't want a confrontation, but we're not going to sit by and allow our officers to be injured or members of the public. Wherever we can help, our role is to ensure the safety of every person living in this society.
Meantime, yesterday's police shooting comes as protests against police brutality are being held in cities across the U.S. Rose says the force is undergoing a retraining exercise on justifiable force. However, he added that the public should expect officers to defend themselves when confronted.
We don't just walk around with a firearm looking for somebody to shoot. The Police Act, if you read the Police Act, it says that the Commissioner of Police will determine the types of arms that are required for his officers to do their job. And we have determined that the type we are also exploring some other non-lethal method, but for right now what we have is officers who are armed with firearms. It used to be batons. I don't think you'd want officers to go on the road nowadays with batons and everybody riding 3 deep, 4 deep, trying to rob people and to cause harm.
Tourism officials are developing a major domestic campaign along with its industry partners from the Bahamas Out Island Promotion Board. The intent behind the campaign, to encourage and promote Bahamians to vacation at home. Tourism's Director General Joy Dribalou believes given the current pandemic and people's concern about traveling abroad, it's the perfect opportunity for a staycation.
And what that promotion is, to fly free. Their opportunity to, you go 2 of you and 1 person flies free, get a reduced rate at one of the properties on any of the family islands that are a part of this promotion. But I want to see that extended to Nassau as well. Staycation. How many of us live in Nassau and have never stayed at one of the hotel properties within Nassau or on Paradise Island?
Dribalou says while the campaign will focus on encouraging people to see those family islands the world is clamoring to visit, it also will assist in helping to spur the economy.
Important for the economy to ensure that we keep those tourist dollars within our own economy, but it also helps to resurrect the tourism sector in those family islands. Much needed. They have missed their winter season, which is so important for them. Summer season into the fall season, it starts to get slow. This provides a great opportunity to have an incredible experience.
Well, the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season has gotten off to a historic start with 3 named tropical storms already in the record books only 2 weeks into the 2020 season. Hurricane historian Wayne Neely says forecasters believe the season is shaping up to be an extraordinary one. Our Jasmine Brown reports.
It's only been a couple of weeks since the 182-day-long Atlantic hurricane season started, and there have already been 3 named storms. Hurricane historian Wayne Neely says it's uncommon and hasn't happened in more than 150 years.
That's a record. Since 1851, that has never happened.
Tropical Storm Arthur formed on May 16th, just north of the Bahamas. For local meteorologists, this was an unwelcome start to the season when on average the first storm forms on July 9th. 11 days later, Tropical Storm Bertha became the second named storm of the season. Just last week, forecasters upped their predictions for this year's hurricane season. Colorado State University's newest outlook calls for 19 named storms, 9 of which are expected to become hurricanes, with 4 of those hurricanes becoming major hurricanes, Category 3 or higher on the Saffir-Simpson hurricane scale.
They're going for an above average year, and in fact, Colorado State, the folks at Colorado, so Dr. Phil Klossbach and his team, initially they were going for 16 named storms, 8 hurricanes and 4 major hurricanes. On the 4th of June, which is last week, they upped that total because right now we've already had 3 storms.
Neely says the more active forecast is based on the more favorable conditions, including hotter sea temperatures.
Last year, the sea surface temperature was, for a hurricane to go and thrive, you need a minimum threshold level sea surface temperature of 26.5 degrees Celsius or greater. And anything above that would bode well to an increased hurricane activity if all else being equal. Dorian had a sea surface temperature of 30.0. It was a record for this year in North, and they anticipate another record year for above normal.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
And we will take our first break here, but still ahead tonight, historians give differing views on the removal of Queen Victoria's statue. Meanwhile, one group pushes for their petition for the removal of Christopher Columbus's statue to be tabled in the House of Assembly.
Loved bonus data? Well, guess what? There's more. Alive's now giving you cash back. Customers making Freedom 12 plan purchases get $2 cash back. Freedom 25 or 35 plan purchases get $3 cash back. And all Liberty plan purchases get $4 cash back. Top up via your My Alive app today and enjoy more with Alive for less. Alive, we got you.
Believe in best.
Making the world's most tender, juicy fried chicken requires the highest quality ingredients. Our team of cooks start with KFC's secret recipe of 11 herbs and spices and fresh chicken every day. Hand-breaded and cooked to golden perfection, ensuring that KFC's chicken is hot and crispy every time.
KFC delivery is available through the Craven app or visit your nearest KFC location for drive-thru or carry-out.
KFC Nassau.
Our world has changed. Many businesses have been closed for months with little or no access to their customers until now. Rev Media can help you remain connected to your customers. Our trusted customized advertising packages and personalized consultants will provide your business with immeasurable support during this challenging time. Your customers are already watching. Rev Media can help you to remain connected. Call us today. Let us help you.
Next tonight, a UB professor of history says the Queen Victoria statue in front of Parliament should be placed in a museum. Meanwhile, a well-respected historian has a different take on what should be done about colonial-era statues. Jared Higgs tells us more.
Look at Queen Victoria. She is located in Parliamentary Square in direct opposition to this miniature bust of Sir Milo Butler.
Dr. Christopher Curry admits that he didn't always believe that colonial statues belong in museums. Today, though, the UB Associate Professor of History is adamant that the right place for such relics is in a place where they can be properly explained.
I do believe that it needs to be interpreted a certain way by a professional curator, if that was the case in a museum.
A petition calling for the removal of the Christopher Columbus statue from the front of Government House has collected approximately 10,000 signatures. A more recent petition, launched by Anthony Marvey, calls for the removal of the Queen Victoria statue from Parliament Square. The petition has far less support, but it has a staunch supporter in Curry. He says he thinks the House of Assembly should become the museum where these statues are housed.
You could make that into a museum and you could generate a lot of revenue, particularly as cruise ship passengers are coming off Prince George Wharf, and they only have to walk about 100 feet forward, going directly south to that museum. And you could, again, make a lot of money out of being a museum. I know that it serves a particular political purpose today as the House of Assembly. It's been there for some, but it's time for us to consider moving the edifice, not moving the edifice, moving the Parliament to a modern building.
But not all historians hold the same view as Curry. Dr. Gail Saunders, who Curry himself describes as the most prolific writer of Bahamian history, doesn't agree with removing statues and even questioned whether Queen Victoria's statue would be next during our interview about Columbus's statue.
We can't keep changing. We can't change history. It happened. We could acknowledge it, but we may not agree with it. That's what I would say.
However, she says the country's first prime minister isn't adequately memorialized.
I think that Sir Lyndon Pindling's statue is in Jumbe Village, or that he should have had a more prominent spot, I think. Well, no, I know, I would strongly support that. But as time goes by, you know, history doesn't stand still. So I think that the Linden statue needs a more prominent spot.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
Progressive Liberal Party supporters announcing they are moving to have the petition to move the statue of Christopher Columbus from Government House at Mount Fitzgerald tabled in the House of Assembly. The removal of Christopher Columbus's statue has been a topic of discussion following the controversial killing of George Floyd by police officers in Minneapolis. PLP supporter Latrey Ramming says the petition, which was started by Craig Woodside, has accumulated nearly 10,000 signatures.
If we aren't successful, we would have done one thing, at least have a conversation as to who we are and where we are. So this petition has sparked a vigorous debate as to who we are, and it also shed light on the history of Christopher Columbus. So if we aren't successful, which we intend to be successful, we would have at least educated the Bahamian people on the crimes of Columbus.
Some 20 years back, a group of Bahamians petitioned for the removal of Columbus Day as a national holiday. It was later changed to National Heroes Day. Ramming added that while the statue should be removed, it should not be destroyed.
I don't encourage the uprising of the destruction of Christopher Columbus statue. I think our democracy gives us the instruments that we must use. We must allow the process to take its course. We must allow Parliament to accept the petition and allow so I think it's important that we allow the instruments of democracy to prevail.
When asked if a PLP government would remove the statute, Ramming said PLP members of Parliament have always advocated for the removal of the statute.
I have spoken to the chairman of the PLP, Mr. Mitchell, who said that I have his support on the issue, and so there is support on that basis. And I do intend to ask a member of the minority in Parliament to bring this petition to Parliament.
When our news, the weekend edition, comes back from the break, hear the views of one tour bus driver on the reopening of the tourism sector. And later, we take a look at the most memorable quotes of the week. So stay tuned.
As world markets reopen, now more than ever, people are looking for ways to improve their health, fitness, and overall well-being. Morning Moves is a daily exercise show hosted by the Bahamas Queen of Fitness, Bowflex Barbie, where viewers get to join and have fun and exciting workouts right from the privacy and comfort of their home. Each episode will also have a health and lifestyle segment to help viewers live healthier, more fulfilling lives. Morning Moves will be previewing on our TV channel 212 starting Monday, June 22nd through Friday, June 26th at 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. and Saturday, June 27th at 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. Be sure to tune in because there's nothing like it on local TV now, and we're giving you the opportunity to be a part of this new and exciting movement. Contact us today at 601-8198 or email mediasales@cablebahamas.com to learn how you can advertise or become a sponsor of the hottest new show in town, Morning Moves with Bowflex Barbie. The perfect way to start your day.
Open MRI of Nassau and Freeport has the only open MRI machine in the Bahamas. Its non-tunnel architecture can accommodate up to 500 pounds and is perfect for claustrophobic patients.
At Open MRI of Nassau and Freeport, we accept local and U.S. orders for MRIs. Same-day appointments are available, and reports will be provided within 24 hours.
Phone Open MRI of Nassau at 393-1886. And now a new location, Open MRI of Freeport in the Medical Pavilion, East Sunrise Highway. Finally, the freedom to choose at home. Open MRI of the Bahamas, the MRI specialist.
Making the world's most tender, juicy fried chicken requires the highest quality ingredients. Our team of cooks start with KFC's secret recipe of 11 herbs and spices and fresh chicken every day. Hand-breaded and cooked to golden perfection, ensuring that KFC's chicken is hot and crispy every time.
KFC delivery is available through the Craven app or visit your nearest KFC location for drive-thru or carry-out.
KFC Nassau.
Our world has changed. Many businesses have been closed for months with little or no access to their customers until now. Rev Media can help you remain connected to your customers. Our trusted customized advertising packages and personalized consultants will provide your business with immeasurable support during this challenging time. Your customers are already watching. Rev Media can help you to remain connected. Call us today. Let us help you.
Welcome back to our news, the weekend edition. Weeks before the opening of the country's #1 industry, one tourism sector employee says he is doubtful about it. Additionally, he says the past 3 months have been far from the norm. Berthany McDormand has that.
50-year-old Kendall Major says life for him has completely changed following the shutdown of the tourism industry back in March.
When I went into this situation, I had probably little money because working 2 to 3 days, that wasn't a lot compared to making $500 a week. Now you were making $200 and something. So when this came as a shock to everybody.
Taylor lives with his elderly father. Since his mother passed away 2 years ago, he said he tries to assist his father as best as he can. However, being out of work has forced the independent tour bus driver to rely on the kindness of others and the unemployment benefit from the National Insurance Board.
Little dollars that we had saved, went on groceries and whatnot. And then families helped you out. And then after that you went to NIB. And then after about 8 weeks, they paid me for like 4 weeks. Now family is helping me. Warren McCartney is helping from the giving out vouchers. I got a voucher. And life is just different.
And with the tourism sector set to fully reopen by July 1st, Taylor says he's skeptical about returning to work. Government has planned a phased reopening of the tourism sector with a number of new protocols to protect employees and guests. This includes a certification program to ensure employees are up to speed with the new safety protocols.
Do the certificate 2 weeks before opening, and you have 5,000 people on PI. You got the Bama. You have all the taxi drivers, that's like 4,000, and you got the tour drivers. So doing this 2 weeks prior to opening is kind of late. And then doing it at the Hilton, we don't know what type structure they have to accommodate like 200 people, 300 people.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
A Bahamian woman who is living in the United States is making a donation to Bishop Lawrence Roll, affectionately known as the Singing Bishop. Apostle Rochelle Graham was once a beneficiary of Roll's generosity, and now she's paying it back by donating bulk groceries for Roll's feeding center. Graham says the circumstances of the pandemic made the need for the donation more urgent.
It touched my heart watching the long lines, people waiting on to get in the grocery stores or to go to one of the local feeding centers. For example, the Singing Bishop, he's always been kind of prominent in my heart because at one point in time, my son and I, we were regular visitors on Super Wednesday, believe it or not. We were there getting those food packages. We were there getting that hot food.
Graham and her family
It's an
members.
extension of who our grandmother was in the
Graham and her family members run the Renata Bastian Legacy Foundation. The family matriarch was a giver, and her descendants are trying to drive her legacy on.
It's an extension of who our grandmother was in the earth. She was a giver. Every time the mail boat came in and she got her bales, she would portion out those bales. And I feel as a woman of God, we have to continue to give. For God so loved the world that he gave. So we have to follow in the pattern of our Father and be who he is in the earth realm.
Find out the most memorable quotes of the week. That's coming up when Our News, the Weekend Edition, returns.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's time to get up and get moving. Join me, Bowflex Barbie, for my brand new show, Morning Moves, previewing on RTV channel 212, starting Monday, June 22nd through Friday, June 26th at 6 a.m. and 9 a.m., and Saturday, June 27th at 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. You'll get to join in my fun, exciting workouts designed for all fitness levels, right from the privacy and comfort of your home. I can't wait for you to join me for Morning Moves, the perfect way to start your day.
Finally tonight, it's that time when we take a look back at the most memorable moments of the week in news. In at number 3 is Pine Ridge Member of Parliament Frederick McAlpine, who, while delivering his contribution to the budget debate in the House of Assembly, called the emergency orders a flirtation with dictatorship.
First time in history of the Bahamas through the emergency of power as depicted in the Constitution, we flirted with dictatorship, which left a better taste in the mouths of many Bahamian people. Never again should one man be given such power in a national crisis.
Taking the number 2 spot is St. Anne's MP Brent Simonet, who told parliamentarians the Bahamian people are getting tired of hearing excuses and reasons why the government cannot do some things.
We have to come out of this budget period running full speed to deliver on this. No more excuses. COVID, we're coming out of. The hurricane is finished. Yes, it had its damages. Yes, it had its effect. We now, you as the government, have now got to rebuild our Bahamas for all Bahamians and residents alike.
But taking the top spot for Quote of the Week is former Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands, who, while acknowledging government's botched handling of the Hurricane Dorian deaths, called for a coroner's inquest into the matter.
We did not handle the identification of those who lost their lives or the missing very well. The official death toll of Dorian stands at 74, but the actual death toll and reconciliation of missing persons remains unknown. As of today, we do not know collectively who is lost, who is missing, or missing and presumed dead. I fear that we have not sufficiently elevated this matter as a national priority.
Well, that does it for our Quote of the Week and other stories making news this evening. Our weather forecast is up next. And that's our news, the weekend edition for this Sunday. I'm Andrew Knowles. For all of us here at our News, thanks so much for watching. Let's remember to be safe and look out for each other. Have a great night.